Now we want to bring in our VIP guest. He is the Chief Investment Officer of 𝗂𝗏𝘂 Ventures, a private investment firm that has acquired such brands as Magnolia, Bluestone Lane, 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗂, and 𝗏𝗏 Pizza, among other assets. He's here to give his take on the current events going on in the industry, as well as share his insights in restaurants. He is Uday Ahuja. Uday, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Susan. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
All right. I got to ask you first, olive oil coffee, yay or nay? Would you try it?
Well, we'll try anything, right? But let's see if it resonates with the consumers. I think one thing I've learned over time is it's not necessarily what my tastes are or what our team's tastes are. It has to resonate with consumers at the end of the day. And clearly, Starbucks has found something that they believe will, and I'm excited to try it.
Spoken like a true chief investment officer, always on. All right, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get right into it. I want to hear your take, your professional take on some of the current events we covered. Starting off, how is inflation affecting the food industry from what you're seeing? You know, we heard, the news items that I ran through, Walmart, they had a strong, previous quarter, but, they're really reticent about, predicting a strong outlook for this year. You have that, PLMA study, store brands being preferred, generic store brands being preferred over national brands, shoppers, showing that, concern visibly with their wallets on, spending. Uday, what are you seeing, from where you are?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sort of front of mind for everyone, not only for grocery shoppers, but restaurant shoppers as well. I was in a restaurant the other day and just tells you how much inflation is on everyone's mind. It said on a sign up there, due to inflation, the 5-second rule is now the 10-second rule, which I thought was pretty apt and, telling of the times. But, just switching gears to Walmart, I think it's indicative of the value proposition that Walmart provides and the fact that they can attract shoppers from all different segments. And they will continue to benefit through this year and while inflation remains up, because I think inflation is sticky, it's going to be around for a while. So as businesses, we have to be prepared for that reality, for better or worse. The beat of same-store sales last year was driven by both price and by traffic. And I think that the positive news is the traffic from the perspective of Walmart, right? If it was only price, then you'd sort of look at it and say, okay, but what are the underlying sort of fundamentals of the business? And I think the traffic beat is actually interesting from a Walmart perspective in particular. And even though the guidance is a little lower, I think they're being conservative given the uncertainty of the environment. But they will continue to gain share as more consumers look for value with the macroeconomic environment. And I think when you think about sort of that value and how it translates across the industry and the segment, as we think about restaurants, I think there's going to be a tremendous focus from consumers looking for those value deals. And so what does that mean when you're a restaurant and are offering pizza, for example, right? To be able to bundle more things together, grab a Coke with your pizza for, X dollars more. So I think consumers are going to continue to search for value, whether they're at the grocery store or at the restaurants, given sort of the inflationary environment that we're in at the moment.
Right. Thanks so much for those insights. Very interesting to hear, dovetailing off, continuing into the restaurant sector. We at FI, we recently saw that news item. A lot of restaurants interested in or rumored to be interested in going public, doing that IPO. You've got 𝗂𝗏 Group, you've got Fogo Hospitality, you've got Panera Brands. They've all been in the news as rumored to having interest in releasing an IPO. You also have Subway in the news recently, right? Positioning themselves for a sale. Tell me, Uday, what's your take on that? What is it, about this trend that we may be seeing about restaurants, wanting to put themselves out there like that?
Yeah, it's really interesting to see, given sort of the state of the markets holistically. As in 2022, proceeds from public listings across the board were down 94% relative to the prior year. So, the reopening of the IPO markets and the public markets is hugely important for companies that are of the size that you mentioned, and to be able to take the next step. And what does that mean? It means being able to raise capital for growth, being able to sort of, provide employees and investors liquidity who have been in the business for a long time. There's a multitude of reasons to go public. Unfortunately, you can't just choose to go public when you want to. So, clearly, without sort of having insight into specifics of each of these companies and why they're choosing to go public, clearly you have to have solid fundamentals and foundations to be able to pitch the capital markets. Because in this environment where, the public offerings are at a premium, investors and potential public investors are not going to reward businesses that don't have all of their stuff together. And that means strong same-store sales growth. It means great cost controls. It means great margins and a robust and predictable pipeline for growth. So all of those things are things that investors in the public markets will be watching out for with respect to each of those names. So I'm excited to see how things evolve from here. But it's an exciting time when all of these companies are therefore on the docket to be able to sort of go public and maybe hopefully open some of that logjam that's been around for at least a year at this point.
Certainly will be exciting to see all that activity as it unfolds in the coming days. You are right about that. Uday, thank you so much for your insights on those current events. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will have more from RSE Ventures Chief Investment Officer, Uday Ahuja. Stay with us.